the Stars Aligned Dramas and Dreams podcast, where the infinite sky meets the starry world of dramas. We're your guides through the cosmos, from heart-stopping queer love stories to straight dramas of unexpected love.
And every unforgettable moment in between that make us swoon, laugh, and cry. And, of course, we'll sprinkle in a little stardust along the way.
I'm Nixie, your drama enthusiast, ready to break down the best and sometimes most chaotic storylines, filming techniques, and the worlds we can't stop obsessing over.
And I'm Cyrus, here to delve into characters, themes, and symbolism that invoke emotion that resonate with us in powerful and lasting ways.
Each week, we'll explore the stellar journey of love, identity, and connection, one drama and one dream at a time. Today, we orbit the series Satellite, where we discuss everything a series has to offer. Our satellite this week is orbiting OMG Vampire.
So, gather a stardust, find your spot under the stars, and let's dive in.
Let's begin by taking a look into the stars, where we take a closer look at the synopsis that captivate us and the stars on and off screen who make every moment shine. Join us this week as we stargaze into the captivating world of OMG Vampire. But before we can stargaze deeper, we must start by discussing the basics. OMG Vampire is a 2024 Thai BL produced by WeTV. The Uncut has 8 episodes with a duration of 54 minutes, which makes it approximately 7 hours, 12 minutes long.
The synopsis reads, after waking from a century-long sleep, Vampire Poom finds that the land of vampires have banned Gen X vampires from falling in love. This new law doesn't suit Poom, and he invites his gang of close friends, Sin, Run, Mix, and Jolie, to flee to the land of humans where people have more freedom. Getting there, however, won't be easy. They'll need to put their names down in the Bible of life and take the bodies of their parallel human selves, mindful that there may be consequences. Poom finds himself living the life of a broken-hearted young man. Life in the land of humans is turning out to be a chaotic undertaking where he meets Patrick, the owner of a secret bar, and ends up working for him. That's one way of putting he basically blackmailed this man to give him a job.
I was going to make a comment about that too.
Ends up working for him is, well, technically correct, leaving out quite a bit.
Quite a bit for sure.
Man was persistent.
I will say though, on the other hand, this is actually a pretty lengthy synopsis.
Yeah, especially for this short of a series.
Oh yeah, and I think it does get its point across, unlike some synopsis.
It does,
sometimes lengthy ones can actually end up having too much information.
Yeah,
I think this actually
or not enough.
Yes, and I think this one actually points out what is needed in the sense that we get to the stages of how or what you're kind of expected in terms of the starting point of the story.
Yeah.
Because like it delivers the setup and everything perfectly well, like actually very well, because like it goes down to like he wakes up, which he does in the series, and then finds out about the new law, and he's like, no, how about we all group together and then we all go to this parallel world? Like, yes, there's consequences, but it says there's consequences. It even gives that for you. So you know something's kind of gonna play along with them trying to go to the other, human world or wherever, parallel world. And then, of course, it gives you the setup and when he is there in the human world in a brief summary, which is the whole point of a summary. So I actually think this one's actually pretty well done, especially like you said, for a short series.
Yeah. You can't ask much for a synopsis of an 8-episode little miniseries type of ordeal. But I think this one delivers what it needs to.
The stars that guide OMG Vampire shine brightly. Let's meet the cast and crew who make it shine. The main couple is Flank Tanat Saran, who plays Pom Pierre, and Li Long Shi, who plays Patrick. There are several side couples in this show. First, Neurit Kittengan and Kan Tang Le play Zin and Run. Sugas Bontawit and Bonnes Tanadek play Captain Joe and Lieutenant Nikki. And finally, we have Diana Pat as Jolie and Son Ravisut as Tien. Pade Ong Lahong was the screenwriter and director, who was the director of Dear Doctor, I'm Coming for Your Soul, and more.
And while there were a lot more talented people who worked on this show, we unfortunately do not have the time to talk about everyone, but we would like to further highlight some of our thoughts on the cast and crew.
Oh.
Go on. Go on.
Which one?
Oh, I thought you were immediately going to jump into Frank. You've been so excited.
Okay, look, it has been so long since I have seen Frank. Frank's the reason I actually watched this series. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen this man since Together. Like, that was literally the last time I had seen him. And when I realized he was in the series, like, weirdly enough, I knew he was in other series because I also knew he was in Love Syndrome. And which is weird because I've seen Forgotten Night, and I meant to get around to see Love Syndrome, but then didn't get to. But then I came across this one, and I was like, you know what? Vampires, yes. And Frank. So, even more so.
Frank as a vampire, double yes.
Yes. And so immediately, but it's so wild seeing this man look grown up, a man, okay? He looks so different. I mean, he looks like himself, but his face is grown in. He doesn't look as baby-like as he did in Together.
But the last time we saw him, he looked baby.
He was a boy, okay? He's a man now.
Yeah, fair.
So that's funny. Sorry. But like, I was so excited to see him in a series. Still very childish of a character, but I was still happy to see him.
Another person who was wild to see. Sugus?
Bonus?
Been a while. Bonus? Big?
Wild.
Big has shown up more recently than both Sugus and Bonus. But
yeah.
And like Big shows up in the randomest of places. It's wild. But like Sugus? Sugus with long hair? That man looks so good.
I'm not gonna lie though, at first though, his first few scenes in the vampire world, a little rough, may I be honest with you. Him and his uniform. But him in human setting.
Yes. Oh my gosh. He thrives in the human world. Which is unfortunate because he doesn't stay.
I don't know what the difference was. Maybe the uniform itself was the difference, but preferred that.
I agree. Same with Bonus. Bonus also.
Yes, I agree.
To a lesser degree, Bonus also.
I will say that it's cool that Lee is actually Singaporean. It's also the first time on this podcast I actually got to do a non-Thai name. Because when I think about it, every series so far that I have had to read cast in the crew has been Thai, which I have not a complaint at all. I love that. But it means for my own series, my week 4 series, which are usually Chinese series, no, maybe not what's coming. It's Cyrus gets stuck with the Chinese names.
I get the Chinese names. I got the Vietnamese names a couple weeks ago. And
had a blast.
All Nixie ever gets is Thai.
I don't mind it. I'm down for it. But sometimes when she reads cast, I'm like, I know I get to say their names in summaries or we get to say them in discussions, but it doesn't feel the same sometimes reading cast because we try to be more accurate in the cast than we do in casual. Yeah. Keyword try.
Yeah.
And so I haven't had the chance to really attempt it. And I know I didn't nail it, but it was still fun to try. Even though it was one singular name.
Nixie was very excited about that, and just in short. But we set the stage, and now it's time to delve deeper into OMG Vampire. Spoilers ahead as we start with Drama Deep Dive.
Let's jump into a drama deep dive, where we navigate an analysis of key scenes, character arcs, plot twists, and emotional gravity that pull us deeper into the stories we love.
You know, yeah, Sai is right.
The concept is wild. There's a lot of things happening, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm confused about a lot of things in this series.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to stay away from the world building confusion part, but storyline confusion part, there was something that bothered me a little bit, and like a little bit this might get into our character our character analysis, which is in the next part. But why was Pum so why was he even surprised to find out that Patrick was a vampire? Because like,
truly,
this man was able to provide you with a drink that kept you from quote unquote dying every 10 days, and it never
15.
clicked, not once. Oh, I thought it was 10. Was it 15?
It's 15 days.
15. My bad. It's been a while. I think I watched this several months ago, I believe now.
Yeah, it's 15.
I'll be honest with y'all guys. The reason why this one became a series satellite is for two reasons. One, it's just so chaotic, and you know what? Why not talk about it? But two, because our main series satellite, this is a special like kind of week or round that we're doing for our season 1. We're doing 2 series satellites instead of 1, and this just happens to line up with our other series satellite in terms of themes, and so that also added into it. And so it's been a while since I've seen this, and I'm so sorry. I forgot 15 days. My bad. But going back into the story, what was he surprised? Like, honestly.
I know. That bothered me so bad. I was like, he's got to know.
He's got to. Like,
he's got to know.
I remember,
like he would be
so
dumb
quickly.
not to know.
He was dumb not to know.
But alas, he's dumb.
I just remember I clocked so quickly that Patrick was a vampire. For starters,
oh, absolutely.
I highly doubted that ever. I never once doubted Patrick to be a human. They did not play him as a human very well. As in, like, they did not present him to be a human very well. Like, there was so many hints that he was a vampire so early on that it was like... that it was like, how did this man... How did Mom go so long not realizing that this man was a vampire to the point that he had to he basically came clean to his whole friends.
The last
that he was
episode.
a vampire. Yes, or second to last, actually, I think. I think it was the second to last episode. Came clean, and the other one kind of like a little upset, walks away, and like and the other one, you know, and Patrick goes to like confront him, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I lied. Lied. He should have figured it out." Like, he must have been asleep for a little too long. I love him, but his gears didn't start up. I think he either needs to go back to sleep or he needs to sit down and maybe...
It's definitely in episode 8, because my first bullet point on episode 8 is wild way to find out that your boyfriend A knows you are a vampire and B is also a vampire. This would have been so much better if y'all just talked, because it blew up to be like honestly a non-issue once they kind of like talked, but like for a second there they were both kind of on edge about it all. Mostly Poom. Poom was highly upset. But like, if you could have just used your head just for a second, you would have figured it out.
It was episode 8. I could have sworn it was second to last episode because I thought we picked up on the end of episode, like beginning of episode 8, where like they had finalized their decision of what they were going to do, storming into like back in Twilight City and do what they needed to do.
That happens in the first scene of episode 8.
Okay. I guess it just happened so early that my brain
at the end of episode 8, like you get
episode 7 instead.
Episode 7. Sorry, where Patrick and Captain and Lieutenant like join forces and like meet at like the cafe, the dessert store, and they're like, "Is this an ambush? Are we being taken in?" And they're like, "Chill your beans, sit down." We gotta talk. And then I don't remember if Patrick like takes Poom aside and that's like the end of the episode, and it picks up where he's like, "I know you're a vampire. I'm a vampire. Get that right off the bat. We've got shit to work out." But that would be like that was at the beginning of episode 8.
Wait, so the scene I was referring to is when they were sitting at the table with his friends. So that was actually episode 7? Because he pulls them aside at the end of episode 7? Oh, I'm confused.
Yeah.
So it was episode 7.
I don't know, bitch.
Oh my god. Because like, you're having me thinking I'm getting the timeline all mixed up. But I could have sworn in episode 7 was the scene where, like, he comes forth and, like, to, like, where his friends are sitting at their table at the little house, you know, the cafe, whatever, whatnot. And I think, you know, bonuses and, you know, captain and lieutenant show up, and he's like, "Well, they're with me." Essentially, I don't remember the whole situation, but it immediately, without saying that, "Hey, I'm a vampire too," it immediately clocked that he was one. You know, because of that status there, kind of per se, his behavior, and that's where like Pum was like, "Whoa, whoa," you know, wait a minute. But yeah, wild. I can't.
Long story short, this show is wild.
Don't even know what to say at this point. Like, I still can't believe this man did not pick it up.
Yeah.
But like, there were so many other things that happened, and it's just like more. There were so many signs. I can't get over it. Like, I literally can't get over it.
Yeah.
Like, I love him. He was precious. He blackmailed his way into a job, but he was precious nonetheless. Like, I loved that he actually was very genuine in terms of, like, he still retained a lot of his human life.
Yeah.
And I liked that about him.
I agree.
This is sounding so much more like a character constellation than a storyline, and I'm sorry, because we're gonna have to bring up a little bit more details of him later for the constellation part. But one of the story plots that I find kind of intriguing of a play, I guess, is that it's interesting that Pum was a human turned vampire.
Yeah.
But Patrick was born one? There's some logic I want to get into, but I'm restraining myself because that's for a later section. But on the other hand, I'm sorry, was Pum like the only human turned person in the entire group?
In the group, yes. Unless you count Chin. Because Chin gets turned.
Yeah, because he...
in episode 8.
Yes, I remember that. That was... I can't.
I audibly screamed no. I was like, no. Because I thought he was dead.
He was dying?
I thought he was dead.
I thought you were saying screaming no as in like he was dying, or that they shouldn't turn him into a vampire and save his life. I thought you were going to be like, no, let him die. I was like, that's harsh.
No. I was so afraid that he was just going to be dead. And I'm like, my little heart can't take that. But like, he almost dies. They change him. Jolie changes him. And I'm like, does that mean she's a vampire now? Because that was the whole thing of like, if you love them and bite them, you turn if you're a vampire and bite someone who loves you, you turn human. I don't know.
I don't know.
World building later.
Not gonna lie. It's kind of like what we said in the summary. It's also interesting, like, going back a little bit on the story plot, how this man actually got a job.
Yeah.
Like, he bombarded it. Like, he, like, came into Patrick's life being like, hey, buddy, can I...
He harassed this man. He stalked this man. He blackmailed this man. Everything in the book just to get a job.
What was the final call again? That final strike that got him the job? Oh, I think wasn't one of the things that got him the job was because he somehow posed as his boyfriend.
Oh yeah. Big's character's brother, who's also played by Big.
Right.
Shows up and like kind of seemingly has a little crush on Poom, even though he has a fiance.
And then it makes Patrick jealous.
And he was like,
who's already started falling for Pum.
And like, Q, which is Big's character's name in the current time, is like, oh, you're looking for a job? I need a secretary or a personal assistant. I forgot which one. And Patrick's like,
no, he has
a job. He has a job. He doesn't need your job. That was the final straw. That's what did it.
That's wild. Considering this man had tried everything in the book, only for jealousy to be what got him the job. And then actually,
Jealousy from a situation he didn't even ask for.
Hilarious. But then didn't actually, after he said he got the job, like the following next day, he came to start his job and he was like, oh, what job?
Yeah.
I just said that in the moment. And he's like, excuse you, I need a job. And then he ended up actually giving him the job. I will say another kind of like funny moment in the storyline was how oh my gosh, Palm gave so much secondhand embarrassment when he first came into the human world, which is
Yes.
ironic considering he was a human prior,
Mm-hmm.
so he knows human behavior. But like, I think we had reached like almost the 15-day mark or something, and he started looking for blood and stuff like that, and he's just
Oh,
walking
yeah.
around like blood,
I
blood,
couldn't
blood.
know. Yeah, absolutely
It was
not.
so cringy. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of here for it though because I love cringe, but I was like, "Oh my god, dude, stop, stop!" And like he ended up, it was Chin that came across him, and he went and got Patrick, and Patrick was like, I got him," and then I'm so confused because they create what almost seems like, actually, not sure it's ever really cleared up, but they almost create like this, either it's a fabricated ending that ends up playing different in the beginning of the next episode, which happens sometimes occasionally in dramas,
Mm-hmm.
but like they almost presented like
Like he
bit
bid, yeah.
Patrick, but then didn't, question mark?
I don't think he did,
But they gave us like
but
the
it really
idea that
looked
he
like
did.
it.
It did.
So I don't know.
I'm not sure what happened there, but you know what? It is what it is.
Also, another thing that doesn't quite make sense to me. They allude to like this evil vampire thing. Like honestly, they hint at it like once or twice early on, and then like it's kind of forgotten until it becomes a big thing, which
Yeah.
is wild. But like also, it isn't brought up until episode 7 that Patrick like runs this vampire order, and like that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what it's called. And I'm like, that's
I'll be real
wild,
honest.
wild thing to pull out of your back pocket.
I'll be real honest. This show felt like a fanfic
A
fever
fever
dream,
dream?
but I
Yeah.
don't know what the fanfic was of. Did you get that?
Yeah.
All I heard you repeat was fever dream, and I didn't know if you heard the rest of it.
Because like, I was gonna say fever dream, but you added the fanfic on it, and I was like, fair enough.
Because fanfics sometimes, unless they're written really well, are fever dreams. And somehow that's
Hey,
what
don't
this
be
felt
hating.
like.
Don't be hating on
Oh, I love
fanfics.
fanfics. No, I love fanfics. But you know what I mean, though?
I do.
Like, I didn't mean that as a hate on fanfics. I'm just saying, if anyone knows the occasional fanfics, they're gonna be a fever dream. To a
It
certain
does
degree.
kind of feel like Twilight fanfic, but make it Thai BL.
That's exactly. Stuck in a fever dream. That's what it was with plot holes type of fever dream, if that's what we're talking about.
Honestly, I could see that being the title of this fanfic, Stuck in a Fever Dream. That would honestly kill as a fanfic title.
That would be wild. Oh, that's kind of funny. But that's what the series felt like. It's what it was. I loved it, don't get me wrong. I sometimes just love chaotic series.
It's
Very
very
cringy
campy.
ones. Yes, it
It's
is.
very campy, and I love that for it, you know? I think this show would not be as bearable as it is if it didn't have that layer of like camp and cringe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the two C's, camp and cringe, of a really good bad show.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes they have that balance, and sometimes it works in the most weirdest ways, but it does.
Truly it does.
Having explored Drama Deep Dive, let's shine a light on character constellations where new stars await.
By mapping out character constellations, we chart the growth of our favorite characters, exploring how they shine brighter over time, evolve, and form unique constellations with the characters around them. I will say, like, we in the plot section, we didn't talk much plot. Unfortunately, we talked more
We did
characters.
towards the end of it. We just attacked
That's
poor
fair.
Pum / Frank's character real badly, because I swear he was the most precious. He was pretty sincere. He was very human out of all of them, which makes sense because he was human, unlike the rest who were vampires, which they were too, don't get me wrong, but because he has human experience. But Where did his brain go? Where did taking hints go? Because he could not be a detective to save his life. I really think this man would get murdered before he realized there's been someone in his home. Like, that's how he got turned into a vampire. I'm not gonna lie.
And I mean, Patrick like snuck back in several times when they were living together, and
Yeah,
Men was none the wiser. So fair enough.
I think this man could get triple killed. I feel like, yeah, he could. Oh my god, I can't. Love him. Don't get me wrong. I make it sound like I'm trashing the character. I am, but I don't mean it in a bad way. Like, I love him. He's like one of my favorite. Him and just the two leads are just fabulous. Oh my god.
I agree.
Because I also love Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think Patrick was pretty caring, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Was pretty attentive to most people.
Mm-hmm. That was his entire business model at his bar. No menus, just give me your feelings.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, but you're right. So he really was attentive to people's feelings because that was his job. That's funny. Love him.
I agree.
I do want to say some wild characters in this series is vampires must not get a lot of love in their life, I swear. Because the journey we had to go on for the side couple, for Zin and Ren, for them to end up in for them to end up in bodies where apparently they were engaged to each other, and so they were like, do we have to like pretend to be engaged, only to find out as they went along that maybe we actually do like each other.
It really embodies the sound of two friends in a room, they might kiss. So
Yes.
they're so cute. I love them. I will say I was reading over my notes that I took over the show as I was watching it. I did not call them Zin and Run the entire time.
What did you call them?
They were exclusively Little Red and Braces Boy in my notes at all times.
So fitting. That's so fitting. Oh my god. That's hilarious. I love that. They were so freaking adorable.
I love them.
They were so cute. It was funny because they seemed to have been really close even in the group.
Yeah.
So honestly, I had foreseen it happening anyways. But like, I don't know, but like watching them go down their journey of like realizing that they might like each other was just, it was one of those where it's like you're standing next to them and you're just like, you have your hands on the back of both of their heads and you're like, just kiss, like get it together. That's what it felt like, but weirdly enough, not that frustrating as that normally is implied.
Yeah.
I kind of liked every moment of them trying to figure it out, but they were frustrating sometimes. I was like, come on, don't be like them. Don't be like them. Get yourself together.
The frustrating part was when like they both knew that they had feelings, but they couldn't voice it to the other quite yet. And he was like, Little Red was like, if you don't like me, like, we're calling this off. Like, we're telling our families this is not happening. And I'm like, no, just talk about your feelings to each other.
They did eventually, though.
They did eventually. And they didn't call off the engagement. They did get married, and it's very cute. They were so cute.
I just wanted to make a comment about them because I enjoyed them, weirdly enough.
You do have the whole, like, lieutenant and captain as well.
Kind of would have liked more from them because I was a little
agree.
A little confused.
Also, the captain being Patrick's ex, wild.
Oh yeah, I did not expect that. Not at all. I think that was out of the left field all of a sudden.
No, that flashback was a wild scene. But like in like the human world, him, captain and the lieutenant, like are having their little love affair in the wildest way possible. I have two things I specifically want to point out on them. Bullet point 1 in episode 6. I have the way that Bonus and Sukas just switch and finish each other's sparring partners. That's true love right there. Like they're like fighting, each individually fighting a person, and then they kind of like pass them to each other and like finish them off. And I'm like, that is way wild, but like kiss. And then we get into the next episode, episode 7, when like Sugus is one of them is hurt. I think it's Sugus. And all of a sudden he was like, someone made a comment about sadism, and I was like, no, sirs. No, we're not doing that. Absolutely not. No.
About what?
Sadism.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
I don't remember that.
I wish I didn't.
What episode was that?
Insane. Episode 7.
I clearly don't remember.
I didn't write the comment down because like I didn't want to remember it even more than I had to, but I have the sadism comment was insane. Like, excuse me, sirs, no, we're not doing this. And they didn't, because it did fade to black and we did move on. And I'm so thankful for that, because no. Simply no. We've journeyed through drama deep dive and character constellations, but now let's explore the cosmos of creation for one last perspective.
Journey with us through the vast expanse of world building. In the cosmos of creation, we explore how creators craft intricate universes that not only enhance stories, but bring them to life in ways we can't forget.
We can't forget is right.
Because what in the world was some of this world building? Also, the parody structures. The parody aspect of this, quite insane of a concept to do. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because what do you mean they named the capital, whatever you want to call it, the location in the vampire parallel world Twilight City, but spelled Thai, so Thai, and then light. So it sounded like Twilight, but not quite. And it's just like, I felt like that was a little bit of a hint to a very popular media or a very popular literature, whatever you want to call it, in Western world.
And the parody was only strengthened by using the Twilight blue filter way too strongly anytime they're in Twilight City.
I mean, I get that they needed to create a difference between the worlds. One, I think we would have known they don't look alike in terms of their settings. But two, it's just a wild concept to use a blue filter like that. That intensely, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the good news is we stayed in the human parallel world way more than we did in the vampire one.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we didn't get it a lot, but we still got it regardless. I did enjoy it, though, because it was creatively fun. You know, it was really fun to watch. I was like, that's so funny. But, like, going into the actual world building of this, a lot didn't make sense, to be honest with you. A lot of the world building I was confused by. Tell me why. Why was it necessary to basically kill the human parallel self to even go to the human world, but yet you can mosey on over to the vampire world whenever you wanted?
Yeah.
That barrier didn't look that good of a barrier, to be honest, between the parallel worlds.
Yeah, that was wild.
That concept, you mean to tell me they could easily go in and out between the two worlds to the point that there was really no need to have that book? Like, there were a lot of rules to the universes that just did not add up.
Yeah.
And then earlier, we tried to wrap our heads around the concept of it doesn't make sense how they become vampires, how some people become vampires, and how some people
are just born
get turned into humans.
Some
we know
are
that,
turned,
but
some get turned from human to vampire, vampire to human. It's so confusing, and it doesn't make sense.
So, what doesn't make sense is, like, how Poon became a vampire was it because his lover didn't love him? I'm confused.
I don't remember, because I think it's if a vampire bites someone that loves them, the human turns vampire and the vampire turns human.
Was that the case? Or was the thing... Or was it... Because I thought it was addressed when Chin became a vampire.
And, like...
Because that's what she was worried about. Because Poom got turned into a vampire because it meant that his lover didn't love him. So he got turned into a vampire. But because I thought, I'm so confused. Or did he? Because isn't biting someone you love turn you into a human? So did he actually end up loving him, but that ended up in the sacrifice of him turning into a vampire? I'm so
Girl, I don't
confused.
know. But like with
I'm
Chin, it was like
so confused.
if they're
Because with Chin,
dying.
it was also a last minute situation, and I
Yeah, it was a
think
stipulation
I
of like if they're
remember
dying.
Patrick, because Patrick was like, "No, you can do it because of the situation and like
Mm-hmm.
of the moment. He is dying, and if you don't do it, he's going to die."
Yeah.
And so I want to say that was a situational kind of thing that happened out. Now I don't know. I'm kind of confused. Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something.
Me too. Mm. But like also if like two vampires who love each other bite each other, they're both humans. What the fuck? Like I'm so confused.
That was a wild. That felt like a parody on Vampire Diaries.
I never see us. I never saw that, so I wouldn't know.
I've seen a few seasons of Vampire Diaries. I never got farther than a certain amount of seasons. I don't even remember now. But I do know that it was more of a parody, so more so in the terms of two vampires biting each other, because in that one they could drink blood from each other. No, it didn't have any effect. It just all it did was allow them to drink blood from each other. Or at least I don't remember an effect. But it felt like a parody on Vampire Diaries in the sense that vampires biting each other. Because like I feel like that's not portrayed that often,
I
even
also don't
in
think
normal
so.
standard vampire series. A lot of the
Yeah.
time, vampires don't bite other vampires. It's not really a common thing. And so that's why I felt like it was more of a parody situation. Because that. Then again, there's so many different contexts of so many different types of, like, fantasize, like, how we, like, create vampire,
Mhm.
structures. Because, like,
Yeah.
there's different in every story. Like, there's a general focus, and that has to usually do with blood most of the time. Or maybe there's some other supernatural elements that are pretty consistent, but most of the time it's the blood aspect. But there was so much in this that I was just confused. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm puzzled. I'm bombarded. I don't know what else to say. I was like, what is going on? Like, I still enjoy the storyline? Yeah. But the world building was throwing me off a
Yeah.
lot. This is one of those ones where you just really have to watch it for fun,
Yeah.
because if you've seen any of our other series, any of our other episodes, we love it when a series makes sense and they're able to like carve every detail essentially and like explain so much of it. This is definitely not one of them. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
It does not meet those standards whatsoever, but we still enjoyed it because what the heck? Sometimes you gotta enjoy things outside your normal like expected.
I already said this show is so campy. It's like it's so fun but in a bad way, but it's so bad in a good way because it's fun in that kind of way.
Mhm.
That didn't make sense at all, but like it does. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but do they know what you're saying?
I think they get it. Hopefully.
If they don't, they replay it and just analyze it multiple times over and over.
No, it's so
It's okay,
campy
Cyrus.
that
I
it's
get what you're saying.
it's so campy that it's bad
Just
that
stop.
it's good.
Just stop while you're ahead, even if you're behind.
Okay.
We get it. We get it. It's okay.
Hmm. Okay.
World building of this confusing point blank period.
It's like not even like all like in like the big stuff of like how like the world like just like set up in general. There's so many little things that like doesn't make sense. A toad blood being the vampiric equivalent to alcohol. Yeah. No, no thanks. Like I already don't do alcohol, but like I'm for sure not doing toad's blood. No.
I kind of forgot about that.
It's brought up once in episode 1. Like it's fine.
I guess the good news is they didn't really elaborate that on that.
Yeah. But then like you like toad's blood alcohol is alcohol. But lizard's blood, that makes people who drink it follow your commands. Wild. But like toad's blood is apparently also green, which that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like I don't know.
We get it. We get it. None of it made sense. I think we stated that well enough. Time to get off of our soap opera box, okay? Move on.
I'm totally fine with that.
As we prepare to leave the stars behind, let's gather the stardust of our experience and share our final reflections on OMG Vampire. Cute, campy, a mess, confusing.
Oh, I thought we were gonna go just like list C's: cute, campy, chaotic.
I mean, we could do that too. That's your literature standpoint. Let's be honest.
Do not watch this show for logic. Watch it for fun. It'll be a lot more enjoyable that way.
If you try to logic this series, what logic are you trying to use? Because it ain't from this world.
Episode 1 will take you out. Like, that's enough to be like, no.
Absolutely not.
If you can get past it, it is, again, campy and chaotic and cute. It's definitely one of those shows that is so bad that it's good.
Sometimes you gotta appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. And that was like the very simplified version of the thing I was trying to say earlier. Don't know why I overcomplicated that.
You mean the mess that you couldn't figure out what you were saying?
Hey, yeah.
Oh, okay. Now we know. We got a summary version of it in the summary.
That's what the summary's there for.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Stars Align Dramas and Dreams podcast, where we meet amongst the stars that illuminate the love stories that light up our universe and connect us all.
If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And share your stardust and thoughts with us. We'd love to hear your comments, favorite moments, or suggestions for what we should explore next.
You can connect with us in the comments or through our socials, as well as our email that are linked in the description. Let's keep the conversation going under the stars.
Until next time, keep dreaming, keep listening, and remember, love always shines brightest in the cosmos.
Bye. Bye.